Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly intelligence insights briefing from At-Risk International's Global Risk Intelligence team. I'm Ross Hill, Director of Intelligence for the team, and here with me are two of the analysts, Cooper McGill and Roman Fisher. And Roman is going to start us off this week.
Thank you, Ross. Starting off this week with some information about civil unrest. According to a report from international corporate insurer Allianz, businesses should prepare for a rise in civil unrest caused by disrupted supply chains and the rising cost of living. Additionally, violent protest movements pose risk to companies because they can severely disrupt normal operations, resulting in loss of income. Sarjan Todorovic, who is head of crisis management at Allianz, believes that civil unrest represents a more critical risk to companies than does terrorism, and that civil unrest incidents are likely to persist for the foreseeable future. Todorovic also stated in the article that currently civil unrest is primarily caused by the cost of living crisis and divisive ideological shifts. The report claims that most at risk from civil unrest or the collateral damage resulting from it are government buildings, the transportation infrastructure, retail stores, foreign-owned enterprises, fuel stations, distribution centers for critical goods, and the tourism or hospitality businesses. Businesses should look out for suspicious indicators and establish clear strategies for de-escalation and response. Finally, companies should review and update their business continuity plans and identify any supply chain vulnerabilities. Next for you, Cooper McGill.
Awesome. Thank you, Roman. So the U.S. and South Korea began a series of joint military drills today, August 22nd. The exercises are slated to take place until September 1st. And though the two governments have conducted exercises together on numerous occasions, these are rather significant as they represent the largest scale series of drills since 2017. The COVID-19 pandemic led to a pause in a number of exercises, and prior to that, the former South Korean president had scaled back exercises as a part of an effort to restart talks with North Korea. North Korea, which has, obviously been publicly quite critical of the exercises, last week fired 2 cruise missiles off its west coast following the start of some preliminary training exercises between the U.S. and South Korea. This comes as North Korea has conducted missile tests at an elevated rate over the entire last year and is slated to conduct its 7th nuclear test at any point, really, but sometime in the near term for sure. Talks with North Korea over the last few years have largely been unsuccessful. South Korea even stated that they would be willing to supply North Korea with economic aid and other assistance if the country were to take steps toward denuclearization. However, North Korea has declined. So the U.S. and South Korea plan to continue bolstering their joint military preparedness through these exercises and moving forward in the face of these, continuously elevated and elevating tensions between North and South Korea. And now I will pass it over to Ross Hill.
Thanks, Cooper. Campaigning for the Italian general election begins this week, election taking place on September 25th. Current polling suggests that the far-right Brothers of Italy have nearly 25% of the vote, so well in the lead. They should be able to form a right-wing coalition with Matteo Salvini's Lega Nord and Forza Italia. That should give the government a comfortable majority. This would be a populist government. They've been promising things like tax cuts, increased pensions, control of immigration. But one interesting thing is that they would also have a more pro-Russian stance, or maybe, more sympathetic towards Russia is a better way of putting it. Doesn't mean they're pro-war in Ukraine exactly, but it could start to test the EU's support for Ukraine. There's also concerns over Russian interference in the election to make a more pro-Russian government outcome more likely. Italy did rely quite heavily on Russia for about 40% of its gas. Now that's reportedly more like 25%, or that's still quite a lot. And that's going to be one of the key issues, like energy is across all of Europe at the moment. But that's what would likely drive Italy's relationship with Russia. There's also concerns of Italy taking a more combative approach to the EU. Giorgia Meloni, who leads Brothers of Italy, would likely be prime minister in the coalition government, admires Viktor Orban, who's Hungarian prime minister. He's very combative towards the EU, and his government is known for making some unpredictable policy decisions. Italy has very high debt to GDP ratio. Its borrowing costs on that debt have been increasing. Kind of a party that has tension with the EU would be overall negative for its debt sustainability, negative for EU stability and the euro overall. So we see a potential then for increased political, economic, financial instability and unrest. That's it from us this week. We hope you enjoyed the content, and we hope to see you soon.